Start today by making another 1/4 inch thick flattened coil using the same strategies we did in the previous steps. You can check the thickness using the school pencils like we did before. You want to seal both sides and make sure it's nice and even, and at least as long as that sheet of paper. While you let the coil out for a short time to firm up a bit, check on your clay from yesterday. You want to make sure it is really flexible, soft, leather hard. So it's in between plastic and leather hard. Then you're going to come back and trim your flattened coil. Use your serrated rib to score one edge of your flattened coil on a 45-degree angle to create a bevel. Use a little bit of pressure so you create a nice, even, consistent bevel all the way down the length. You're going to use the serrated rib and create a scored bevel on the rim of the bottom of our base. Remember, we want to increase the height of the cylinder of the mug. So we're going to add our flattened coil to do that. So we need those beveled angles to match. Notice that 45-degree tilt. This is going to match the edge of our flattened coil. Apply a light coat of slip onto both edges that we just scored. Now carefully pick up that flattened coil and begin to overlap it onto the base of the pot. You want to bring it around and keep it as circular as possible. Carefully wrap that around and overlap the ends of the flattened coil. Make sure you have a nice circle shape. Use your pencils if needed to make sure the walls are vertical. Gently press your overlapped ends together. Align your knife at that 45-degree angle, and while supporting the clay on both sides, press down. Careful not to cut into the base. Peel off that extra clay, and then we're going to score and slip both overlapping ends, and then smooth them together. Start joining these at the bottom and then slowly work your way up. Remember to overlap the edges so that way when you compress, it'll end up equal thickness. You'll watch some of that extra slip squish out just like before. Gently press that, and you can wipe off any excess with the sponge. We're going to smooth the outside down onto the lower part of the cylinder. It's really important that you have a hand on the inside of the pot to support the walls to keep them vertical. You want to be careful not to pinch the clay. You're moving the softer clay from the top half of the cylinder down onto the slightly firmer clay below. Smooth and seal the inside as well as the rim. Use a modeling tool to smooth the clay from the base upward into the new part of the cylinder. You're going to want to be gentle here so you don't bulge out the clay. And keep in mind the top half of this is softer, so you're going to have to be more careful with the clay that we've just added. Work your way around until you're finished, then use your fingers to smooth the inside. You want to smooth this so that you cannot tell that there are two separate parts. You shouldn't see any lines or dents. Back to the outside, you're going to use your serrated rib to compress lines into the clay. You're not scraping the clay off. You're going to be joining the clay from the top slab down into the bottom part of the cylinder. Again, support it on the inside. That top clay is very, very soft, so often you're going to see a little line or a dent here. Pay attention to that and be gentle. Work your way around, and then you can move the serrated rib into a more horizontal motion. We're trying to mix all the clay particles at this joint so that the line, the seam where the two meet becomes invisible. You're going to come in with your smooth metal rib next and very, very gently smooth and compress the clay. You're going to get rid of most of the lines at this point, but not all of them. That is okay, but be sure to support that clay on the inside. You want to do this extremely gently at this stage. After gently smoothing for a bit, we need to wrap this in plastic for at least an hour. The top half of this is so wet and soft, the bottom half of this is closer to leather hard. So by wrapping it in plastic for at least an hour, it's going to allow the moisture levels inside to equalize a little bit, and it'll allow that connection where we join them to become a little bit stronger.